Don't we love tier lists? Listening to random people in the internet talking about random stuff and giving their opinion, while we, the watcher, fiercely tapping true or shit taste and declaring war to the opposite camp. Well, maybe not. And today, I'm going to rank every single monsters in Monster Hunter Wilds game. A massively popular game without any bugs. I'm Fanazador, your host for today, and let's jump into it. We'll start with Chatacabra. It's the first monster that you will fight as a tutorial monster where you cannot skip the goddamn text box, even though you chose to only show several. Oh, you're just a little baby who doesn't know what is a square versus a circle.
This is a square. Can you guess which spot that goes in?
The square.
That's right. It goes in the square hole.
Yes. Okay.
Meme aside though, it is a fun punchback monster with a big jaw, inviting you to smash your true charge slash into his face. A really good starting monster in my opinion. Solid B tier. Humatrice is a fire tail wiping rooster-like monster. Before we discuss about this monster, can we appreciate the fun introductions cutscene? It may be one of my favorite cutscenes with a cat carrying the meat and it got roasted by its tail. Anyway, I love how the tail is flappy and looks like a fan, which can ignite and throw fires. And with a large tail, it also teaches players the tail swipe attack pattern, which is one of the most common monster attack. Geometries also introduced Fire Blight, which teaches player how some monster can wield certain element debuff. I think this monster also belongs in the B tier. Lala Ballerina. Now, this is the first monster that stands out to me. The fact that it is a wordplay for a ballerina, and the monster move and jump like a ballerina dancer, is just so fucking good, man! At some point, Lala Ballerina's back will open up and show a rose-like bell. Whenever I see that red back, I just want to hit it with my weapon fires and make it wild. Oh, I would just love it. Such a beautiful monster. This fight just reminds me of the fight with the songstress in Nier Automata. Just look at this comparison. It's definitely an A tier for me. Congalala, our first returning monster from Monster Hunter 2. A pink fur gorilla, but don't let the cute look deceive you. This monster likes to use fart as its weapon, whether it's from rear or front. This monster afflicts a special debuff called Soiled, where you won't be able to use consumable in the duration. You can remove the debuff by waiting for it to expire or use a cleanser. And honestly, I personally hate the monkey type monster, but this is my personal taste. And you know what? This is my tier list anyway, so I can do whatever I want. I'm going to put this monster in C tier because fuck pink furred monkey. And since we're on the topic of monkey monster, how about we knock everyone out? A Jarakan? A Jarakan? Is that how you pronounce it? Honestly, with all the spike, this monster reminds me of the Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. And because of that, it makes me fall in love with the monster design, even though I still hate fighting monkey monster. And small complaint, I don't like how in the first time we saw this monster in the story, the dev asks us to fight two of them solo. I don't really care too much, but for people who are trying to play with their friend, having to wait for them and watch their friend struggling, it's not fun. Please let the player play with their friend right away. C tier. Lagonga? I think it's a step down from the magnificent Jarakan. I feel like this should be more of an earlier monster, since there's nothing special about this monster. And you guys already know how I hate monkey type monster. D tier. Palahara. Palahara is a sand swimming snake monster. We saw the monster at the beginning in the main story, but I don't know why it took so long for us to actually hunt this monster. And I have 3 words for this monster. Fix, Screamer, Pod. Huh? The amount of time where I throw Screamer Pod to this monster and doesn't do anything is insane. For those of you who doesn't know, Screamer Pod is used for a sand diving monster to stun them and bring them up to the surface, so you can get more hits on them. But somehow, this motherfucking item doesn't work most of the time. Because of that, my experience was tainted, and my disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined. So for that, I'm going to put this monster on a D tier. Dosha Guma. Honestly, I don't have anything worthy to talk about this monster. This is probably the least memorable monster in the game. It's just a bear. A really furry bear. I'm personally a Zurus type of guy, you know, but yeah, so I'm just gonna put this monster on the T tier. And why don't we just jump into Guardian Doshaguma? This version of Doshaguma is much better. Not in terms of design, but on the gameplay standpoint. Adding explosion to his stomp makes the fight much more interesting. However, other than that, everything else is the same as normal Doshaguma. It is still not a very memorable monster. So I will put this one on the C tier, which is slightly better than regular Doshaguma. And finally, we're going to Uduna, the first Apex monster and my least favorite Apex. But we'll get to that. Did anyone else thought this monster looks like Namiel when they first saw it in the introduction cutscene? Just me? Okay. And speaking of cutscene, yo, where's my hammer, bros? That fucking hit on its belly feels so good, no? The fucking bang! Whoa! And if only the actual fight is also fun. Uduna's belly flop feels so fucking slow and the hurtbox feels so fucking big, making players just standing there waiting to get hit. And not to mention, the wave that this monster creates when there's water around him pushing us back while trying to hit this monster is a nightmare for melees. Also, when he is dying, he walks all the way up. And all we gotta do is just sit there waiting for the monster to finish climbing. I am personally just not a fan of it. So this will be my first F tier monster. Moving on, we have Rumbapolo. The Darth Vader turned into a grandma monster. But don't let the appearance fool you. This monster will poison you, and on phase 2, it will grow its wing, it flies, and claw you to death. Wait, what was that? He doesn't do that? That's Rathalos? Well, even if this monster doesn't do all that, it does introduce us to puzzle mechanic where a player have to run away from it. Overall, it's a really cool monster. Here. Raidou, the second Apex monster, and I would argue, one of the coolest monster design in Monster Hunter series. Although, I am kinda biased since I do love Astalos, but who doesn't love a dragon-looking monster who can shoot a fucking railgun? What the fuck? But other than that, you can feel the pressure when you're fighting this monster. All of his moveset feels big and dangerous. But look, I'm biased, okay? I will put this monster in S tier anytime, any day. He's just a fucking cool monster. What do we have next? Oh, the ugly cousin of Lalabrina, Nursilla? Nursilla feels like the gamer cousin who live in a basement while their female cousin went and become an accomplished ballerina. If you're Asian, you'll understand. It's definitely not as good as Lalabrina, and I hate the sleep stinger that keeps hitting me when I'm trying to be under him. I don't think Nursilla will be anyone's favorite monster, and I think that's what the monster designer wants. They want to make this monster to be ugly for a reason, but I'm still going to put this monster on a C tier. Hirabami. Can we just skip this monster, man? I just hate this monster so much. The fact that it just fly non-stop, and unlike other flying monster, all the move feels bland and lacks of personality. Melee can only hit its tail while it's flying, and the design is not very memorable either. It just looks like a pink Ludroth in my eye, or even a Planarian. Fuck tier. Nudra? This is our last Apex that finally got introduced. And I personally think that octopus type monster is a very cool addition to the game. And not to mention, this monster can coat itself with fire, like how cool is that? Also, if you have tried to cut all the tentacle, let me know in the comment. And if you haven't, try it out. It is very satisfying, or as my friend will say, we are eating taco tonight. I will put Nudra on the A tier. Guardian Rathalos. I was so hyped when I see this monster. I mean, who doesn't? It's the icon monster in Monster Hunter franchise. If you didn't know, Rathalos has been in every single Monster Hunter game, and seeing a Guardian version is very, very cool. What surprised me though, is that they added a new moveset to the monster which caught me off guard. But yeah, easily A tier monster. Rathian, the queen of rat family. It's not Monster Hunter games without them. This monster is so iconic that I remember all of their moveset like the back of my hand. And I don't think the monster changed much. And even with all that reason, this monster will always be an A tier. Rathalos! We've talked about it in Guardian Rathalos section, but this is the icon of Monster Hunter. There's a reason why Rathalos is everywhere. So can we agree that this monster is an S tier? Actually, fuck the Wyvern Egg quest. I'm glad they removed it in this game. Jindahat. Fucking finally! Every Monster Hunter game have their colossal monster in a main story, where the hunter is tasked to grab a cannonball and fill the cannon in order to damage him. I hate it. Why do you think we choose our weapon? We want to use it to smack, slash, and explode the monster, and I'm glad they removed it from this game, and letting us to actually fight their colossal type monster with our weapon. The fight itself is also really fun with a cool mechanic where we have to hide close behind a rock. It is honestly a S tier for me. Guardian Ebony Odogaron. Hey, another familiar face. I'm not sure why they chose Ebony Odogaron instead of regular Odogaron. I would love to hear the decision making from the dev, but other than that, it's mostly a regular Odogaron moveset with added explosion. Odogaron can apply bleed debuff, which deal damage every time you move. You can accelerate the recovery by crouching. And since it is an Ebony Odogaron, you can also apply Dragon Blight, which nullify any status effect or elemental damage that your weapon have. So I'm going to put this on the B tier. Guardian Fulgur Anjanath. Again, I don't know the reason why they picked Fulgur Anjanath instead of the regular Anjanath, which I would argue it's more iconic compared to Fulgur Anjanath. Regular Anjanath is the first wall for new players trying out Monster Hunter in World. Using a T-Rex-like body shape plays into the human fear emotion, and on top of that, adding the fire breathing adds the tension to the fight, while the Fulgur counterpart uses lightning. Regardless of the reason why they picked Fulgur Anjanath instead, I still like that they bring it back to Wilds. So I'm going to put this monster to A tier. Suwu. Okay, I don't know why they introduced Suwu after introducing Nudra. I feel like the impact after seeing a fire-coated octopus monster kinda killed my first impression about this monster. Like, Suwu monster design feels really bland compared to Nudra's. However, Suwu introduced a completely different moveset compared to Nudra, so it does feel like a completely different monster. However, I don't think the monster moveset will carry the monster impression. So I'm going to put this monster in a C tier. Guardian Arkfeld. Okay, after fighting Unchained Arkfeld in the beta, Guardian Arkfeld is a huge step down in comparison. Which makes sense, since the monster still haven't awakened its true potential. But to be honest, it is my issue since I did participate in the beta and hunted Arkfeld multiple times. So the fight became too underwhelming for me. Doesn't have the oh shit moment, but Arkfeld monster design is very cool. I really love the chain-like whip that he swings around. It reminded me of Enja, a sword whip in Onimusha. And I always think that weapon is very iconic. So I'm going to put Arkfeld in the A tier. Sorry? I'm going to put Guardian Arkfeld in the A tier. Arkfeld, the flagship monster. It is so cool to see how Arkfeld got his power from. And honestly, I swear to God, they gave us low rank gear against the high rank Arkfeld in the beta, so it felt so much harder than it's supposed to. I really love the monster design. I love the red tint they added to the chain, showing how much more powerful the impact is. And I still feel like a badass fighting this big monster, even though it felt easier compared to the beta with our high rank gear. And yes, you know it is S tier, and it is one of my most hunted monster in my list. Zosia. Who else thought that our hunter have a Giga MC energy during this? Like, god damn, what happened to my hunter, man? We went from silent side character into getting dominant spotlight. I was fangirling about our hunter. Also, what the fuck? By my own order, I will slay Zosia. Fucking finally! Fuck you, Alma. I'm the hunter here. In terms of monster design, I love how the monster is all white with all its feather-like spikes, and then in the middle of the fight, his face changes into black and grow horns. For me, it looks like an angel becoming a demon, which might be what the dev is aiming for, since Zosia is originally made to protect the Keeper and now is the reason for their demise. The fight was also really fun. I like how it doesn't change the area like Xeno'jiiva in World. Also, unlike Xeno'jiiva, Zosia stays on the ground, so player can keep fighting it and not standing there not doing anything. For melees. One thing that I don't like though, is that there is no optional quest for this fight. The only way for you to experience this fight is to go to another player's main story quest. So there is no option if you want to fight this monster solo. I hope they bring it back in an event quest or something. Regardless though, I think this monster is S tier. Yankutku. I remember when I first met Yan Kutku back in the original Monster Hunter. This monster was my wall back in PlayStation 2. It's funny how I feel this monster become easy now when I quit playing the original Monster Hunter because of this monster. Because of that, this monster holds a very special place in my tier. Respectfully, fuck you tier. Gypsaros. This dumb bird likes to waste other people's time. Whenever this bird almost died, he will pretend that he is dead and all of a sudden jump you and knocking everyone back. It's really funny to see people get flung by it. This bird can also flash the players. And in order to avoid it, you have to be underneath him behind his shadow. It's not the greatest monster in terms of design and gameplay. C tier. Graphios, the chunky boy. I love the fact that this monster can literally shoot a fire laser, but I'm quite disappointed that none of our attack bounce when we hit the hard skin. It seems like the dev doesn't want the players to feel bad that their combo get cancelled due to dual weapon anymore. I was so surprised that they added poison to this monster. I was like, okay, there's fire, there's sleep, and you cannot be underneath him. But I never expected poison coming out of it. Holy fuck. Overall, a solid monster, B tier. Gore Magala. It is one of the most popular monsters. Like, come on, who doesn't like Gore Magala? The first impression that a new player see is that this monster is the embodiment of evil. All you see is black with a hint of purple, which is synonym to antagonist. And not just the monster design, even the way this monster moves is so erratic to show the frenzy mechanic that this monster have. There's a reason why this monster keeps coming back. S tier. And yeah, that's everything. That is every single monster in the base Monster Hunter Wilds game rank. I hope you enjoy, get some laugh, or just find it entertaining. Thank you for watching, and I hope you had fun.